Hey everybody, it's your girl, Curly Girl Real Talk, coming back at you with another episode. I've been gone for the past couple weeks. I had to take a little sabbatical, I guess is what they call that. But I had to take some time. You know, your girl just wasn't in a place where I was studying and doing what I had to do, and I had a lot of things going on. So, but praise be unto God that he always brings you right back to what he's called you to do. Amen. All right, but we're back this week and we got something different. And this week we're talking about the single and singleness. The single in singleness. I specifically felt like I needed to stress that S, huh? The single in singleness. Well, honestly, when you honestly think about the word single, whether you're single or you're married, what comes to your mind? I'm sure a million different things. Does it make you cringe and feel like you wear the word loser on your sleeves? Or sleeve or on your forehead or whatever? Or do you embrace it like it's a badge of honor because there's nothing wrong with it? Like, you know, shout out to me. How many people think about the word single and cringe, and how many think of it like, hey, it's all right with me, right? But when we hear the word, sometimes we can react when you hear the word single because it signifies where your heart is really at in this season of your life, right? So when you hear single and you know, whatever you do, however you cringe or you know, just be like, yeah, whatever, right? It signifies where your heart is at in that season of singleness. Maybe you're in a season of divorce. Maybe you're in a season of dating. Maybe you're in a season of being widowed. Whatever the season that you're finding yourself in right now, know that God is always right in the middle of that with you, and you are never alone, regardless. But this leads me to what I really want to talk about today, and that's the stigma surrounding the word single and being single. There is so much of a stigma around being single that makes people feel more and more like singleness is a curse and not a gift. Being single in definition means one, unique, not part of a group, which to me translates to unique. I mean, really standing out. One, right? I've been in this long season of being single, and many times I've definitely, the devil would always like me to look at it like a curse, but it's not. It's not a curse at all. And we'll get into that. But I've been waiting so long for a partner that it can seem sometimes like it's so out of reach the older that I get. And, you know, it wasn't until I got some alone time with God, though, that he had to reveal to me that he gives me the desires of my heart. So I have to take delight in him. That's what Psalms 37:4 says. Take delight in the heart in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. So my desire is to eventually get married one day. I've never been married, and I would like that, right? I would like to have my companion, my helper. You know what I mean? And I mean, that sounds like a pretty little package, doesn't it? I want to be married. A lot of people say, I want to be married. And they want the pretty bows and the glitter and the fancy weddings that they think about and dream about. But we have to ask ourselves a question when it comes to that. And some of you should do the same thing. When I'm talking about me, I'm saying, what does that really mean for me? Like, it's not just words that I say. It's not just like I love you. Some people use that so loosely and say it so loosely, right? Getting married is the same thing. Oh, we're getting married. And then a couple years down the road, you get married to somebody else and then somebody else and then somebody else, right? So what do you want to get married for? I guess that's the real question. Like, is it truly to be a wife and share life with someone, to walk the path together called life with? Or is it just to say that you're married? I've known a lot of people that have gotten married young and didn't survive past 5 to 10 years. But I've also got some friends that did. I think it's a mindset of embracing what marriage truly is and knowing what love really is. You know, because this world is about phileo love. And phileo love is you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But as soon as you stop, then I don't got nothing for you anymore. I don't like you. I don't want to be around you. As long as you're doing something for me, I love you. But as soon as you're not, I don't love you anymore. Right. And the Bible tells us that, God is love. And in his love is called agape love. And that's unconditional love. It doesn't change. It stays the same no matter if they're being ugly and nasty, no matter if you're having a really bad day and you went off the radar. It doesn't matter. You still love with that agape love no matter what. So, I guess that's a mindset. It's a mindset. First of all, you got to understand one thing. Who are you? Right? Before we can ever desire to be married to somebody, we have to understand who we are, which allows us to understand what our likes, our dislikes, what characteristics we're looking for in certain people. You know what I mean? It goes deeper than just saying, oh, I like them because they're cute. And yes, I believe you should have a form of physical attraction to that person, but I also feel that it goes a little bit deeper. Right? It can't just be all physical, because we all know how that goes. Then we got a bunch of people walking around with, and I'm just being real, I was one of them. We have a bunch of single women walking around with babies just because you thought they was hot and they really was not, characteristically speaking. Right? So it really goes a lot deeper to knowing who you are and understanding and embracing the unmarried season that you're in. However you want to look at it, whether you call yourself unmarried or whether you call yourself single, the fact of the matter is, do you know who you are in this season? I'm just saying, and really, this is really I'm coming from this today from a single person perspective, specifically those who are like me, who desire to have a mate, right? If you're like me in this single season, I'd like to break down the stereotypes centered around this specific topic and give you some encouragement on how to shift your mindset on this season of your life being a blessing and not a curse, right? Because we have to understand, we have to embrace our own unique identity and purpose. That's huge. Because you can be what is called yoked. You know how oxen back in the day, they would be yoked. And so I think sometimes maybe the Amish still do that. Like they have they'll have them yoked, which means they're yoked together by this big metal thing and it goes over their eyes. So they go in the same direction. They're not going in different directions. They're going in the same direction. So you have to understand purpose from a perspective of God is going to pair you with somebody with likewise things, right? And we often wonder, I have to wonder, I've never been married, so I can't really pinpoint this, but I have to wonder how many failed marriages occur because there's no like-minded purpose going on there. There's no equal yoke going on there. Everybody's just willy-nilly. Now, when I say purpose and equally yoked, I'm not saying they have to have the same profession as you. I'm not saying they have to have the same whatever as you, but there is some qualities and things that are the same that make you guys, your purpose kind of match, right? And I'm not going to get into all those details, but you really got to understand what being, your purpose of being married. That's one of those things you need to put in consideration. Again, it's just not just saying that I want to be married. It's actually understanding what that really means and recognizing that, when you're single, it's a gift from God rather than having a deficiency. And a deficiency is that you're lacking something. And that's not what it is. Being single is not a lack. Being single is that listen, this leads me to my first story because I always got stories. So everybody knows I've said this before. Me and my daughter's father was together 20 years. That's 20 years of my life that I really dedicated to somebody that I really thought was going to be my husband one day. And lo and behold, it did not occur. So I spent this whole 20 years trying to make this man see that I would be the greatest wife and everything that ever lived. But all the while, he was not ready. We were not equally yoked. He was really not the person God had for me. So it failed. And because, it probably should have fizzled out a long time before it did. But because I'm a loyal person by character, I hung on, and then we had a child. So then you feel obligated, because you know how we do. We have a child with somebody, then you feel obligated to stay. But let me tell somebody right here, right now. If you're with somebody because you have a child with them, first of all, that does not mean a life sentence. I'm speaking to somebody. Just because you end up having a child with somebody does not mean you have to spend the rest of your life with them. Unless you're like, okay, even if it was a mistake, even if you were married, right? Well, I'm specifically talking about people who had it out of, what they call wedlock. I'm still trying to figure out what that is. But anyway, my whole point is, even if you had a child before the marriage, don't feel like you have to stay with the man because you got the baby. Okay, so you did it out of order. Okay, right, we get it. But that didn't mean that I had to stay with my daughter's father for the rest of my life just because we had her. She's a blessing, but we know that we were not compatible for each other. And there's just sometimes you got to be wise and just say, yeah, okay, this is really extended and overextended its course. So it's time for us to just say bye-bye, right? And now he's happily married with somebody else and I'm still single. Now, anybody else would look at that and be like, oh my gosh, I've been married not been married, Lord Jesus. I've been single going on 10 years now, almost 10 years since me and him actually departed. And within that 20 years, there was a lot of mess that happened in that relationship. There was a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. There was a lot of grief because of the failed relationship, right? So it's going to take, it took 20 years for us to get that way. It's going to take me a lot me specifically. I can't speak for him because again, he's married now, but it takes me a lot longer because I feel like I bore the blunt of that relationship. And I'm not saying I'm a victim. Please do not mistake what I'm saying. I'm just saying because I stayed trying to be loyal, which it wasn't my time to do that. And I did it with the wrong person. That I'm looking at it now from a perspective of now you got to heal. Now what? Because I devoted my whole life, 20 years I devoted to that man. And if you're living life for somebody else instead of being uniquely you and singly you and them being singly them, because when you come together in marriage, that's when you become one. But even if you are one, you're still unique to you and unique to him. Right? So let's not get that twisted and make it seem like, oh, we're one. And no. You're still a single, unique individual, even if you're married. So you're looking too much into stuff if you think, well, the Bible does say that. And it says that for a reason. And it's really because of protocol. The head of the household is the man. And then you're the wife and you take care of the kids in the household, blah, 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 blah. If you look at the Bible, that's what it says. But you're still each unique individuals. So in order for me to be able to successfully have a healthy marriage, which is what I'm striving for, if God said to me today, and I think some of you need to ask yourself that, any single people on here, if God said to you today, I'm sending your husband and your wife your way, would you be ready for it? Be real. Would you be ready for that type of commitment? Because it is a commitment. And it's funny because in 1 Corinthians, Paul addresses that. He said, I think everybody should be single because then you can devote your time to serving the Lord. But he said, but there's no sin if you want to get married. If you choose to be married and you both agree upon it, right? And it's built on a good foundation. Not just hips, lips, and fingertips and six packs and patty whacks, according to my pastor. Like it's not just you ain't just looking at looks and thinking that's it right there because looks is gonna fade, baby. If you're like me, I look back on the 20-year span that I was with my ex, and I feel like, man, I've lost out. Those were my most youthful years, and I wasted it. I could have been happy with somebody else. Now I'm middle age, getting ready to, next year, getting ready to turn the big 50. And now I can see the wrinkles on the face. The wisdom lights is coming out a little bit more, right? And so you're like, well, and the devil just wants you to act, he just wants you to sell into that, well, who's going to want you now? Exactly who God has for you. You got to keep the faith. You got to understand that if that's the desire of your heart, guess who put it there? God. God will give you the desires of your heart, meaning he's placed them there in the first place. So if your desire is to be married, then keep hanging on and doing. But I'm going to tell you something. There's stuff I have to do. There's things I have to do to get prepared for a husband. There's some characteristics flaws, so to speak, that God has to get out of me in order for me to be ready to be able to have that committed relationship, because it's not all about me. And I don't have to do everything in the relationship. That was my problem before. I felt like I had to have the weight of the world on my shoulders in that relationship because I prided myself in that. Well, that's pride. I can't do everything, right? I just can't. So my point to you is, and I think we're going to cut it off and I'm going to come back next week and finish the rest of this because you need it. And this is to my single people, but honestly, if you're already married or you know somebody who is single or somebody who just newly got single, this is for them too, right? You're not a loser, right? Just because the marriage or whatever didn't work out, you're not a loser. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have to understand your part. Everybody has to take accountability. It takes two to make it and two to break it. So you have to understand your part of that what it didn't work, and understand and let God just move through you and cleanse you from everything. And let him build you up to the person that he called you to be, and literally let him guide you. Because I said, Lord, you're going to put my husband in my path. I'm not going out to seek anybody, because it's really not a female's trait to go out and seek any man. The men come looking for the women. Let's just be real. Because if you a woman looking for a man, you're thirsty. I'm just going to say it. You're real thirsty, and just stop it, because it is not appealing to a man. If he can get you because you coming to him, what? You're not a chase to him. Guys like to chase. They like to chase. Let's just be real. And so if you're not allowing that, what do I do now? He's going to get bored. I'm just being real. Anyway, and listen, I'm going to cut it off right here. And I think I'm going to come back and talk about the rest of this, because honestly, there's a lot in this. There's a lot in this. And I think we could really just devour it together. Anyway, I love you guys. That's all I got for right now. Come on back next week where we can talk about the rest of this and close up the singleness. And we can get some revelation. We'll get it together. And, like I said, this will help somebody. Praise the Lord. This will help somebody. So come on back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And this is your girl, Curly Girl Real Talk, where my motto is the hair is curly and the talk is real, but the talk is always real. So come on back next week. Let's finish this conversation. Have a blessed day wherever you're at, weekend, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. Peace.